Well, if they do dump on people's heads, I think it goes back to the original statement, and Richard preaches this all the time. Crypto was invented to get rid of the middlemen. See what they're doing? This is true crypto over here. This is why you need DeFi.
If Satoshi dumped all his coins, guess what would happen? There's only like 16,000 Bitcoin in order books. Okay, so
he would dump it.
You dump like 20,000. How many wallets have 20,000 Bitcoin?
Not many.
If they just want to go, of course they'd have to run around from exchanges, and there's market moving and stuff.
Yeah.
But let's say theoretically, if there was a timed movement to drive down the price, which some of these institutions could possibly do.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, they're already, everyone's been begging for this institutionalization of crypto. Guess what? Satoshi's rolling in his grave right now.
Mm-hmm.
That was never his intent. You should pull up the white paper sometime and just read it for the audience so they can actually understand that the institutionalization of crypto is never what it was meant to be. And we have these people out there, they're just begging and pleading for institutions to come in and buy their bags. And what they don't realize is they are enabling the institutions, and they're taking away their own opportunity by doing so. Yep. But they don't care because they're sitting with 2 or 3 Bitcoin in their wallet, and they're like, "I'm going to the moon because I'm so vested." And it's just hilarious. And some of them don't even have that; they got 0.01 or something.
Exactly.
I'm really glad you brought that up, actually, Johnny, because we didn't have that slated to talk about tonight because we did a little bit last week. But I really want to hear your thoughts on this because, everybody is clamoring about these institutions getting involved, and oh man, look at all these ETFs, like this is
not good
and all this stuff. Yeah. So let me know. I want to know specifically what you think about this, like with this upcoming cycle in mind. Everybody has talked about, how they did last bull cycle. We're going to have 6-figure BTC, 100K BTC, have a time frame set up for it. What do you think we could see? We know that Bitcoin and crypto's returns are largely diminishing cycle over cycle. So do you think, and we just made a video on this the other day, and all these people didn't understand what our point was, but do you think that we could see even more diminishing returns because the market, who is buying up everything right now, those institutions, will have incentive to dump on grandma and grandpa Bitcoin ETFs heads. And who knows, we don't even get far over 6 figures BTC, or maybe the bull market stops out early. What do you think we see this coming cycle because of the institutions being involved?
That is full of loaded questions.
Give me some loaded answers.
Are you gonna ask me next? Is Hex gonna hit $30,000 so we can do a quick little crop and say, this guy, he said this. So
yes.
So here's the thing with that, man. This is uncharted water here. The institutions are making a power play for Bitcoin. Are they going to try to crush it, or are they going to try to crush us? That's the question. See, Bitcoin has to be traded on centralized exchanges. All of this stuff is off-chain back room. So to really understand what's going on in Bitcoin is almost impossible. Mm-hmm. And our networks are very clear and transparent. Okay, everything's on chain. There is some DEXs that do some sales, right? But the majority is online and visible. And that's part of the problem with Hex and Pulse and everything, is the fact that all this shit is normal. It's always going on. Just we have people that have the ability to track it because it's so open and transparent. So then when you take that extra knowledge, you're kind of armed and dangerous. If you have all the information, you're going to speculate. And if you're going to speculate, you're going to start looking towards the gloom and doom. It's really, to get back to your question though, because I don't want to stray too far from it. I do that because ADD. But the problem with that is no one knows. No one can know, because of all we don't know the intent of what's going on right now. So that is a big fat unknown. Now, if we're just looking at normal cycles and saying diminishing returns, I'm kind of in agreement with Somi on that people are going to be calling for the 100,000 Bitcoin and will probably get upwards of 80,000. Now, with the institutionalization and stuff that's going on, I think that's an advantage towards our ecosystem, because what we need to do is kind of promote that, look, this is a clear and transparent network. There is not this closed door stuff going on that goes on, and with the institutions, right? We're trying to get back to the ethos. And yeah, I understand people are like, well, the OA owns. Dude, go to etherscan.com, okay? Click tokens and look at any of those tokens. There are, you know what? Let me send this to you. Let me actually send
the list of like 100 or however 50
how centralized they are. Yeah. People seem to forget that centralization like that is what happens with these things at the beginning, and that's where the opportunity has traditionally been.
Yeah, I've never known BlackRock to get into something though to fail. So that kind of leads me to that portion of it. Is I don't think they're getting into it to hurt the users unless they're being paid to do so. That would be the only way I could see them not going after. Who knows? I don't think they're going for the users though.
Oh dang it! You can't do that, Ewok.
I was actually going to say I feel the opposite way. I feel like they may be doing that because, by the time that you incorporate one of these ETFs into whatever your portfolio is or something like that, and then the price starts going down, I mean, BlackRock's going to have control of the fund anyway. And I'm sure they're taking like hefty expense ratios out of it and stuff like that. So, yeah, I don't know. I think they're getting ready to dump on people's heads probably. Maybe that's just the... masochist in me or the realist, I guess, but
it's quite possible. Are you trying to?
You got it, Johnny?
I'm still looking for it. I'm letting you guys talk. Right. I'm still looking for it. You guys talk. I've done talked a whole bunch.
All right. I do think it's interesting. I do think it's interesting, though. Yeah, I do think that we could see suppressed prices because of that. So that's why I'm a fan of getting more aggressive now. And I really like what Johnny said too, because, and I'll get your thoughts on this, Ewok, because this does make you kind of double down on DeFi even more. We already think that we're in the best projects of crypto, the best products in crypto that have been created. What do you think this does for DeFi long term? Because this is all obviously going to be, this is just Bitcoin ETFs. Eventually there'll probably be an Ethereum ETF.
Sure.
But it feels good. I think it feels even better to be in DeFi in a time like this. Because maybe we still run as normal. And if the rest of the market is a little bit suppressed towards the end and they are dumping on everybody's heads and stuff like that, maybe we don't experience that as strongly still being in DeFi. What do you think about that?
Well, if they do dump on people's heads, I think it goes back to the original statement, and Richard preaches this all the time, crypto was invented to get rid of the middlemen. See what they're doing? Guys, this is true crypto over here. This is why you need DeFi. So, I mean, it could totally benefit systems like ours, to have the decentralization and the, as far as Pulse Chain goes, and the system that is Hex, trustless yield. You don't have to trust anybody anymore to make a good yield on your own product. So I think it could only really help us, especially if they do decide to dump on people's heads. Now, if they prop the price up and they do some funny things, and then we'll see. But again, we just have to see how that one plays out, because it could go either way. But like I said, if they do malicious things, it's more reason to bring people over to our ecosystem and say, there you go. That's prime example of why we don't want middlemen in here, because this is what they do all the time.